Hello, and welcome back to Maya's Reviews, a blog and podcast where I review all types of movies and novels. I'm Maya, and thank you for joining me for another movie review today. Now, I know it's been a very long time since I posted an episode, a review on my blog, or literally anything, and I am very aware of that. I have missed reviewing books and movies. And it's been since January. I mean, I had other reviews and episodes prepared for the month of February. And then my mic kind of gave out on me. It was picking up weird noises and the audio just wasn't great. And I didn't want to put out a bunch of content that was shitty. So I just decided to forego posting all of that. So now I'm hoping to be able to get back into posting reviews and episodes. For the next few episodes, there won't be any video for the podcast just because I'm trying to figure out how best to record my audio and video without it causing the audio to go wrong, because that, I think, has been what has been happening in the past. Just thank you guys for your patience. I realize it is August and I haven't posted since mid-January and it is pretty much almost September, so most of the year I have been absent from the podcast and the blog, but I'm hoping to be back at least semi-regularly. I have some plans, especially for October, since October is the best, just cool things I can do with that. I'm hoping to have at least one review and one episode up per week, maybe every other week. We'll see how that goes because, I do have other things going on in my life, so I can't dedicate everything to the blog and podcast, but we're gonna try. We'll see how that goes, and just thank you all for your patience. I'm actually planning to post 3 episodes this week and 3 reviews this week. 4 reviews and 3 episodes this week, and I realize when I'm recording this, it is Thursday, and that is not a lot of time to post. So, we'll see, but I am hoping to have those up because there's a couple things I've been meaning to record and review, and I just haven't gotten around to it because of stuff I've had going on in my personal life. But basically, the plan is I went and saw Oppenheimer and Barbie on opening day, and I meant to review both those movies the day after, and that just never happened. And here we are, August 24th, and I am finally recording my reviews of both of those movies. And though, they've both been out for a while, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen them, I still want to talk about it because I loved both of those movies. I mean, the whole Barbenheimer trend was a thing for a reason. And then I also went and saw the Insidious 5, Insidious the Red Door, and I actually really enjoyed that one. So I will have, hopefully, both my Barbie and Insidious franchise reviews up sometime this week, if not early next week. So that's what I'm going to be attempting to do. We'll see how that works out. That's a lot of editing, a lot of recording, especially for not having recorded anything since February and not having posted anything since January. So we will see, but that's my goal for now. And just, again, thank you all so much for being so patient and sticking around, even though I have literally been gone since January. I was going to post stuff in February. I had a Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey review all recorded and everything with video, and then the audio and video just did not work well together. Might have been, the positioning of my mic, whatever it was. It was really bad, the quality of the audio, and I was so done with it, and I took a very, very long break. Not just for that reason, for other stuff too, but, I'm hoping to be back. So let's just get right into it. Today, for the first time in months, I will be reviewing Oppenheimer, directed by Christopher Nolan. So I have been excited for Oppenheimer since they first announced that the movie was coming out. I love all of Christopher Nolan's movies that I have seen, at least. I love Cillian Murphy as an actor. I love Florence Pugh as an actor. And so I was so excited for this movie, and it exceeded expectations, honestly. I think before I get into Oppenheimer specifically, I think Oppenheimer and Barbie both faced sort of a challenge when they first came out, just because there was so much anticipation built around both of those movies, especially with all of the jokes online, all of the very well-known actors and actresses that were in these movies. And I think both of them managed to exceed expectations. And I truly believe that this is both of these movies are so well done. And I mean, I'm not surprised by that, but I was just surprised by how well I connected with both of them and how much I was just entranced in the movie theater. So, Oppenheimer, let's get into that specifically. Oppenheimer, directed by Christopher Nolan and produced by Universal Pictures, came out July 21st, 2023. It is rated R and is a 180-minute movie, literally 3 hours, but it's worth it. Usually I despise movies that are that long. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that movies that long can cut, but I feel like this movie utilized every minute of its time. The movie is obviously a drama and history movie following the development of the atomic bomb during World War II, and specifically following Oppenheimer. The movie stars very well-known actors and actresses such as Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, and Rami Malek, just to name a few. The budget was $100 million, and at the time when I wrote down a bunch of information, which was a couple of weeks ago, box office earnings were $590.3 million. The average rating on Letterboxd is a 4.3 out of 5 stars. My rating personally is a 5 out of 5 star, and I'll actually just get right into that right now, just dive a little deeper into that. Even though this is a 3-hour long movie, I have literally nothing to complain about. I mean, I've seen people online complain about certain aspects of the movie, especially with Florence Pugh and some of the nudity and the sex scenes in the movie. Personally, I didn't find anything wrong with anything that was in the movie necessarily. But then again, I've only watched it once, so if I watched it again, who knows, maybe I would have a different opinion on that if I paid closer attention. But just everything, I mean, it's a Christopher Nolan movie, right? So expectations are already kind of high. And I mean, just everything from the score, the script, the acting, the special effects, the writing, just the way the story was pieced together, and the cinematography, how it allows the story to be told from different points of view in such a beautiful way, despite the heaviness of the story. I think this movie is so well done. And obviously that's not a surprise. It's very popular for a reason. But I mean, sitting in the movie theater watching this on opening night, surrounded by other people who had no idea what we were going to see, right? Not anticipating just how beautiful the movie would be, but also how dark and heavy. I mean, it's about the atomic bomb, and, you know, I've seen people talking about how it glamorizes America during World War II and Oppenheimer, and I don't feel that's the case. I think they very much dive into the heavy and the real consequences of the atomic bomb and Oppenheimer's development of it. And they very much go into Oppenheimer's feelings about it and other people's perspectives. And I don't see how it glamorizes it. If someone wants to have a conversation with me about why they think that, I'd love to hear from you, because I just personally don't see it. But regardless, I do think this movie handles a lot of those things very well. I'm not going to dive too much into, like, scene by scene, but I think just even the effects, I mean, I literally had goosebumps in the theater just because of the score and the effects and how beautiful this movie is pieced together. And, I mean, Cillian Murphy is excellent in this movie. So is Emily Blunt and Matt Damon. And just, I mean, everybody in this movie excels at their characters. And, I mean, the casting is insane, honestly. I feel like sometimes when you have movies with a cast with so many well-known actors, sometimes it can fall flat because the writing because they don't put as much effort into the writing and the story, I feel, just because they're going off of all the names attached to the film. But this movie is not like that. Like I said, I despise 3-hour movies most of the time. I feel like once you get past 2.5 hours, I'm done. There's stuff you could have cut out that wasn't necessary. And I'm sure there was stuff in this movie that people are like, oh, I could have done without that. But me personally, I didn't see anything. There weren't any scenes where I was like, can we get past this? Like, I don't need to see that. And I just feel like the entire story is so cohesive in the way they told it. And obviously they're going off of real events, so that makes it a little bit easier. But just the way the cinematography flashes between points of view, very subtly, but in a way you can tell that it's switching perspectives. I think it just is such a beautiful piece of film. And I don't know what else to say about it. There's just so many good things in this movie, and I enjoyed watching it. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's like life-changing, right? But I truly, I mean, I love how movies and cinema is kind of making a comeback, especially after everything with COVID and how theaters were shut down. And, now there's the actors and writers strikes, and hopefully actors and writers are paid fairly from now on. That's all I'm going to say. I just think it isn't hard to pay people fairly for their work and their creative ideas. I think they are just as valuable as any other thing that people contribute in this world. I mean, for a lot of people, movies, TV shows, media is just an escape, right? And so I think it is so, so, so important that people are paid fairly for their work. And I just, hopefully things can be resolved in a way that allows people to be paid and treated fairly and with respect. And I just hope that's what happens. And, fingers crossed that is what happens. But regardless, I think Oppenheimer and Barbie too, right, are just, they have brought back a certain aspect of movies and connection with the people around you. I mean, going to a movie theater and sitting there just watching a film with a bunch of strangers, but you're all sharing a collective experience, and I think that's so cool, and I think that's something we missed out on for so many years. And I love how it's kind of making a comeback with, a lot of people. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I have nothing really to complain about. Besides, I mean, me personally, I usually use subtitles, so half the time I couldn't tell what anyone was saying, but that's just a me thing. I mean, that happens with every movie when I see it in theaters. So that's not anybody's fault but mine. So, but yeah, this movie is just, it's so, like I said, it's so beautiful, yet dark and heavy, and you can feel that too. Like, I I remember I went and saw this movie with my one friend, Sophia, and we were sitting there, and I was just, I mean, I was like in awe. um, because it was so beautiful, and there's no other way to describe it. Just the way this movie was made, it hits you somewhere, and I can't describe it. um, but I mean, this is the closest, watching Oppenheimer and Barbie is the closest I have felt to when I went and saw Elvis, last summer, actually. Elvis and Nope. There's just, I don't know, certain movies just hit me hard and make me, like, think about them often. And I think that's what a movie should make you do, is think and want to dive deeper into whatever the movie is talking about or discussing. I mean, even movies that are comedies, right? Like Barbie, which I'll get into that with my Barbie review later on this week, probably a day after Oppenheimer goes up. There's always something to be learned, I feel, from movies and TV shows, whether it's a small thing or it's a big topic. But I always feel like there's something you can dive into that they're talking about, and a good movie should make you want to do that. I don't know, maybe I'll go study physics now that I watched this movie. I don't think so. But I mean, chemistry is more my forte, so we'll see. But definitely not gonna go study physics now just because I watched this movie. But it did make me curious about, oh, I should learn about this. This is kind of interesting. So I think this movie, besides even the great cinematography, the acting, the writing, the score, especially, the score is so beautiful. I mean, like, I've actively been listening to this movie score while driving around. So I just think there's so many good things that come with this film. And I think besides even the film itself, just what it's doing for culture and movies and theaters, I think it is such a great thing. By the time I post this review, it'll probably not be in theaters anymore. But if it is, if you haven't seen it, when it comes out on digital or streaming, I highly, highly recommend you watch this movie, because it is just, I mean, it's a masterpiece. Like, I don't know what else to call it. And I mean, I'll get into this with Barbie when I post that, but just how both Oppenheimer and Barbie for me are 5 out of 5 star movies, and I will call both of them masterpieces. They are such different movies, but that doesn't make them, either of them, any less important or moving. And I think they're just so very different in what they discuss and their topics and their aesthetic and their vibe, that they're basically incomparable. I mean, when I was going to review both Oppenheimer and Barbie, I was originally going to do it all in one video and episode, whatever you want to call it. And I just decided not to do that because they're so incomparable and both so great that I just didn't want to even try to compare them, because they're so different but both so well done that I can't speak about both of them in the same capacity. Like, I cannot compare them whatsoever. So, anyways, but like I've said, Oppenheimer, 5 out of 5 star movie. I mean, there's literally nothing I can complain about. It's just such a good piece of film, and that's what I expected, and yet it still exceeded my expectations. I mean, I expected it to be good. Christopher Nolan and Cillian Murphy and Florence Pugh and Robert Downey Jr. and Emily Blunt. I mean, all these great, I mean, there's so many more actors and actresses that I haven't even listed, just because there's so many people involved with this movie and so many great actors and actresses that I can't even begin to name all of them. It would literally, I mean, I probably have mispronounced people's names too, so, like, I don't even want to go through all that. But it is just such a good piece of film, and I highly, highly recommend you see it if you haven't already. Whether you can still see it in theaters or, see it when it comes out on whatever streaming platform it's going to be on. But I was blown away. So, but that is basically the end of my review of Oppenheimer, directed by Christopher Nolan. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please check out my blog, Maya's Reviews, at mayagreviews.wordpress.com. You can also find me at Maya the Bookworm on Twitter, Goodreads, BookBub, I think TikTok, and Book Sirens. I'm also on Tumblr at Maya Reviews, also now on Facebook at Maya Reviews, and Instagram at ML Grimley, I believe. And if you want me to review your book or want to come on the podcast to discuss a novel or movie, maybe even just reach out to me, anything publicity related, honestly, you can email me at mayagbookrareviews@gmail.com. I do ask that if you are reaching out in regards to a review request, interview, collab, or anything publicity related, that you check out my publicity request page on my blog first and then email me. Just that way there's less confusion. You can have the things I need already sent to me, and, stuff like that. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you all so much for your patience for my absence. And, go watch Oppenheimer if you can right now. It is a good movie.